everyone. It's hard to be scared doing this after that Colored Girls Hustle performance. It is an honor to be here today as one of the CLPP student group speakers. I've been a member of student group throughout my 3 years here at Hampshire, and I'm really lucky to be part of this community of student activists. Each and every one of them inspires me, laughs with me, and sometimes we just get together to be tired and sad. After many cold and dark months spent scrambling to finish papers, this conference continues to be the sun that revitalizes my commitment to reproductive justice work. So despite my many hours of lost sleep this week, I am thrilled to be here with all of you as an activist, an ally, a doula in training, and an aspiring midwife. My love of mothers and birth started when I was 8. I would tuck myself into the corner of my mother's room and absorb myself in the pregnancy, labor, and birth books she kept next to her bed. I can't remember now if I actually read them or if I just looked at the pictures, but the images of powerful, loving, and strong pregnant people bringing their babies into the world stuck with me. 10 years later, as a senior in high school, I started a project on what I thought would be a comparing and contrasting of home birth and hospital birth. But after a stern talking to from a local midwife, I learned that where birth happened is irrelevant. A person could have their baby at home, in a hospital, in a birth center, in water, or kneeling on the floor. But if that person giving birth was denied their strength and dignity and made to feel incapable, there was a problem. She explained that the message being given to people who were in labor was that they weren't good enough, that they weren't strong enough, and it was their fault if something went wrong. The most ironic thing is that the people saying these words were supposed to be the ones delivering care. I left this conversation with the midwife feeling angry and defeated. Why aren't pregnant and birthing people receiving the care and support they deserve, and what can we do to change that? I arrived at Hampshire with these questions in mind. I found faculty and other students who shared the same passion I did and became trained as a birth doula. And most importantly, I learned what reproductive justice means. I learned that birth is not an isolated event. A person brings every part of themselves to their birth, their identities, their experiences, and their body's memories. These histories not only influence the experience of birth, but too often determine how a person in labor is treated. Birth justice is more than being able to decide whether or not you want to have a home birth or a hospital birth, or have your baby in the water or kneeling on the floor. It is working to make sure that the people we call care providers are doing exactly that, caring. It is holding spaces where pregnant and birthing people feel worthy, where they have the room to share their identities, their experiences, and their body's memories without shame or poor treatment in return. It is working to ensure that the race, class, gender, sexuality, or incarceration status of a pregnant and birthing person does not determine whether or not they are cared for, loved, and respected during birth. Birth justice is reproductive justice. It makes me so happy to be here with all of you today. All of you who work so hard to fight for people who are pregnant, giving birth, and raising families. One thing I love about this movement is that it fights to get people to care about each other, to care about families, to care about communities, and to care when someone is being treated unjustly. Thank you for that, and I am proud to be part of this movement. Thank you.
Rory and I were just saying we feel like Iggy Azalea among all of you. So, it kind of sucks. Anyway, also I'm on the outreach committee, so I just wanted to plug, we're live tweeting this. Sam is, our account is CLPP Tweets, and the hashtag is CLPP 2015. If you want to, I don't know, connect with us. Okay, so hello, good morning, thank you. It's truly incredible to be here speaking at the 29th Annual CLPP Conference. I'd like to recognize the many people whose labor, attention, and energy has gone toward creating this conference and also preparing this space, figuratively and literally, including the numerous organizers of CLPP and physical plant workers of Hampshire College. I'd also like to recognize the territory upon which we are gathered here today, and those who originally lived and nurtured this land, people of various sub-tribes in the Pecumtuck Confederacy. We are in a town that is named after a man, Jeffrey Amherst, who engineered the idea of biological warfare through blankets infected with smallpox. I'm referring to a chant that we used last semester when demanding the acknowledgement that Black Lives Matter, specifically in Amherst, in this town, when I thusly say, "Fuck Lord Jeff." Anyway, my name's Pooja. If you view the program, I'm a very anxious Stacy, adrift in the diaspora, so I'm not really that scared anymore following Color Girls Hustle, but I still might pee, so sorry. I represent the so-called model minority, an identity and persona created in assimilation to those who are in power, white people, strengthened by a distancing from those who are consistently and devastatingly presumed to be less than, Black people and other immigrant communities. So while I state that I reject this term, this identity, and the conditions within which I am permitted to succeed in colonial capitalist terms, it is enormously important to recognize that me being before you today is only possible because of the violence that was committed on this land through the genocide of indigenous peoples, enslavement of Black people, and subsequently installed classist policies, including the 1965 Immigration Act. I'd like to acknowledge the Disability Justice Collective as well. My repeated interactions with their members, their knowledges, and their care empowered me to begin to tell my story. I wish to hold that gratitude. I'm a child of immigrants, parents who arrived in the US in 1989 in hopes of creating a life for themselves and their families that was better, free from the constraints that colonialism had imposed on their homeland, seeking opportunity and searching for a better life. I am the product of the decisions, the access, and most importantly, the care that my parents provided to me. I am my mother's resilience, and I am my father's deft navigation. I am my mother's warmth and my father's generosity. For me, reproductive justice is a recognition of my family's praxis of struggle to create conditions for my safety and access. The small moments of quiet reflection, of feeling the strength of generational resistance in my chest, and the encompassing kindness of provision and protection is perhaps a glimpse of what justice might taste, sound, look, and feel like. To be honest, this has been one of the hardest years of my life. I've dealt with confronting gender-based, race-based, and ableist violence, all of which have enveloped me in a whirlwind of dehumanization. I've been made to feel inadequate, crazy, and alone. Yet what stands out to me is the spaces which people committed to liberation and accountability, people who care, have created and held. Spaces like the Women of Color Leadership Network, a program of the CWC at UMass. Spaces like the Small Students of Color Caucus that has been created by us, for us, in my major. Spaces like CLPP Student Group. These are spaces in which I've been permitted, nay, encouraged, to bring my fears, frustrations, and fundamental commitment to justice and collaborate. These are spaces that have embodied the movements which I endeavor to be part of. Movements that are about people, complicated, traumatized, funny, and difficult people, and their real families, assigned and chosen. Spaces that have allowed my growth, and thus the widening and deepening of our community. So when I think about reproductive justice, I envision the robustness of relationships. I think about how this work is primarily about care. Doulas, Rory, and drivers, abortion providers, and advocates. The movement says we are here and building, all of us in our fragmentation and imperfection and wholeness. We say, and the movement responds, I'm here for you. Thank you. Take care.